I also want to take this time to really bring y'all to the field for a bit and shout out and name some of the other work that's being led by the over 25 partner organizations we work with, and that are holding it down powerfully in more than 38 counties across the state. In the Senate to lead strong fights when it comes to climate justice, healthcare, and reproductive justice, protect voting rights, and support Black and Brown immigrant communities. And in coalition with the America Votes Table, our partner organizations like Black Male Voter Project, Poder Latinx, the Asian American Advocacy Fund, and Georgia Shift Action are phone banking, text banking, and sending out mailers to register 65,000 new Black and Brown voters and reach 1.7 million voters to get out the vote this January. And our partner organizations are also engaging very deeply and intentionally in various immigrant and faith communities. Organizations like Mi Gente and GLAR Action Network are working together to run a statewide campaign, and the Asian American Advocacy Fund is engaging with over 1 million Asian and South Asian voters through text, mail, door-to-door canvassing, and ethnic-specific media. We're also supporting groups like Song Power, a group that is leading a multiracial Black-led strategy to really build a base of pro-Black, pro-queer, pro-trans, pro-Latinx, and pro-worker. We're creating space and supporting the power and infrastructure that is being built by the small, young, and emerging local and grassroots groups that we believe are lifting important work in their communities and using this moment to grow their base and impact.
And at the end of the day, election results in Georgia are determined by one, who shows up, and two, whose votes get counted. And I think that the work that the New Georgia Project Action Fund, as well as BVM, had done leading up to this point, would matter, would count. We had done our work to make sure that folks showed up, and we have highlighted voter suppression, educated the public about what that meant. And so when we think about Georgia's 159 counties and 159 boards of election, we, with our partners, have had a massive election protection apparatus that made sure that we had eyes on the people who were taking the votes and counting the votes.
So how many times have you heard have you heard people be frustrated because they want to support a candidate, but they can't get materials? I don't know where to get the yard signs. I don't know. There's no materials. There's no push cards. And so we make it a priority to go to places that oftentimes get left out, that don't get those materials, that don't get the door knocks, that don't get the text message, and certainly don't get a big old black bus coming in their community. We make it a priority to go there and let folks know that they matter, that they are loved, and that they have power.
This can't be the come on, Georgia, save us. This has to be rooted in the folks in this state have been suffering, y'all. That in this state, our state has refused to expand Medicaid. Our state has closed a hospital in the middle of a pandemic in a rural area. Our state has, when you're looking at our governor and the lack of leadership from our governor, when you look at 200,000 people who have been dropped from the voting rolls, who never should have been dropped from the voting rolls, and have been subjected to voter suppression. My point is there are challenges within the state. So really to actually create a message that encourages Georgia folks to stand in their power to change circumstances for themselves will be far more helpful than just a message to say, come on, Georgia, save us.
So here's what people need to know. There are about 23,000 Georgians that are turning 18 between November 3rd and January 5th. Those folks need to be registered to be added to the voter rolls. There's like 35,000 formerly incarcerated people who are eligible to vote and need to be registered bases. I think that, elections are compression points, right? They're opportunities for us to flex our power, to test our power. And so I won't speak for BVM, but in this moment, we're not doing persuasion, right? Like in this moment, it is literally the battle of the bases. We're getting our folks out, right? So that multiracial, multi-ethnic, multilingual, multi-generational, progressive majority that is in Georgia, we're making sure that they get out and that they vote. But there's time for persuasion after that, but that takes time. And again, that is also a part of the work that many of folks in our coalition do. But there's a difference between mobilization and persuasion. And this is a mobilization moment.
Think about where we were 2 years ago at this time in Georgia. We had just mobilized and saying them just registered 500,000 people and all of that and 800,000 and we had just mobilized all kinds of people and folks turned out, waited in lines, and we saw an election stolen right in front of our faces, just bold face right in front of us. And all the questions that we got, I know I got it, I know Latasha got it, I know Nsé got it. People, reporters would ask, how are Black voters going to respond to this? Like, is this going to be a setback? Are people going to be so discouraged that in the next cycles that they don't come back out? And what did Black folks do? We responded in the midst of a pandemic. After seeing an election stolen, we responded in record numbers and came out and got more votes than ever in this state and turned this state back to blue, right? And so we've already been through. How much more can we go through, right? And folks still doubt. The amazing thing isn't, the question isn't like whether or not we're going to turn out in January 5th. The amazing thing is, how is it that we have gotten to the point where we are, and in spite of everything that we've gone through and all the suppression and seeing the vote stolen and all the hate and everything, how is it that we still stand and we still thrive and we still have the audacity to win stuff? That's what's so amazing about our folks. So if you ask me what's going to happen in January 5th, our folks are going to respond the same way that we've already responded.